Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Let's get over here to the single shot. Sweet. So, it's been a while, certainly, but let's make sure that this thing's running. I've been having to reset up everything, make sure that I've got my my audio levels set correctly and everything going into the right place. But yeah, I think that we're running good. I'm going to double check really quick here in the chats, and we shall see. Awesome. Okay. So that little intro song, if you caught it, is it's called Parody. It's an instrumental version by Egozy, and I get that on Artlist. Artlist doesn't sponsor any of this stuff. I just really like their product, and I use a lot of their stuff on the stream. So I just wanted to yeah, point that out to you. So thank you for the current viewer that is watching. Appreciate it. It's good to have you on board. Trying to get the restream chat going. I currently have this stream going out to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch all at the same time. So making sure that we've got everything running, and then we're going to get started. We're starting off the day with we're going to be adding some photos for Brandon Stoltz. He's a musician that I work with, and we did some really cool, really moody shoots with him recently. And I kind of wanted to show those off a little bit. Looks like I'm going to have to reload the chat here. Apologize if anyone's trying to chat in. I'm getting my getting everything all working right now. It's I think what, 1, 2, 3 programs all working in conjunction with each other. There's also a camera and 2 pieces of hardware, a microphone, all kinds of stuff. So troubleshooting is always a part of it. I did a little bit beforehand. Okay, looks like we're connected to the chat. If you were to type into the chat right now, I should be able to see it. So yeah, we'll get started here in a second. So as always, we're working in the Adobe programs. I'm going to get in here to our dual shot. Also grab some coffee. Can't forget that. Big part of editing. This is not to talk coffee or anything, but my brother, he recently gave me some coffee for Christmas, and it's fantastic. Matt, I wanted to thank you. This is the last of the roast that you gave me, and it's incredible. Anyway, yeah, brewing and roasting your own beans. Who knew that you could make something so great out of it? All right. You know what? Let's get rolling here. It's already 1 o'clock. We got a lot to work on today. So here's my buddy Brando. We're working on some photos today. I've got all of the ones selected that we're going to be editing. He had a couple that, like, these are all the ones that I selected. So if you go through, I can kind of show some to you. They're just, moody silhouette shots. Some are in black and white. We've got like these where you raise the level of the blacks a little bit, so they turn out a little more gray. Gives you sort of a faded look, and I don't know why, but I really enjoy that. Cool shots of Canada geese going overhead, some really colorful stuff, some different focal lengths. But I was shooting with these with the Sigma series of lenses, and then the hyper wides that you might see at some point. Oh, that's a whole nother story. We'll get to that in a minute. There's some wider shots that I was shooting. No, not quite, not that one. Yeah, anything at 1.8. This would be a lens that goes max 2.8. Here we go. Yeah, so this lens, this hyper wide right here. This is a 9mm Laowa, which is a fantastic lens. It's a f2.8, but it's all manual with the focus. But when you're working with something that's so wide like that, because the angle is so sharp, like if it's going out like that, and your depth of field only covers like a certain percentage of the lens, it's going to be a relatively bigger distance. So when you're working with telephotos, that gets compressed like this, and then you end up, only carrying a small area of focus throughout the entire frame, which is why they're great for portraits and things like that. You can get like really far away from someone and zoom in real tight and still get very, very shallow depth of field. It's a beautiful effect for portraits. Alrighty. Looks like we've got 4 viewers right now. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today. We're working on some photos right now as a little warm up. Later on, we're going to be working on a Toss a Coin to Your Witcher music video, which is going to be super fun. I'm going to preview some footage there. You're going to get to hear the song for the first time. I haven't even heard it yet. My buddy from King Studios, Justin, just sent over an update, so I haven't even opened it up. I can't wait to show you. I'm really excited, and I'm excited for you to see my reaction too, because I'm going to throw in a pair of headphones and actually like listen to it real up close and tight, which I would suggest you do as well, because like the audio that I do have coming through is, as far as I know, it's the highest quality that I can provide. I might be able to troubleshoot and update that better in the future, but basically it's going to be going right through a Focusrite USB console. It's a Focusrite 2i2. It's a Scarlett 2i2. That's what it's called. Got that from my buddy Justin as well. He set us up with some cool audio stuff here, and now we're going to be rolling deep. So we'll have that audio preview for you soon. I'm excited for that, and should be good. Hey, long time. Yeah, appreciate it. We got a I believe this is a yeah, from Twitch. Appreciate it, man. Here we go. I'm going to give you a response right here. There we go. Wicked. Love it when people join us again. It's great. Okay, so I'm going to hop on back here again. So we're working on edits for Brandon. He's a musician. He's in PA. And basically, I gotta zoom this back in. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I have some selected. What I do is I use the stars as I use the stars. No, I use the stars for which round of edits I'm going into. So like these number 1 stars are just the first round of edits that I went through and I chose. The number 2s are the ones that I decided to do black and white edits on. And then you'll see some of them have a 3 on them. Those are ones that Brandon decided he liked the color versions better. I wanted to do a little bit more editing, so I might do something else to them. I have some really cool footage of like, well, it's called like nebulas and space footage and things like that. I might show some of that in a little bit because I actually have the ability to use it. It's great. When you have the rights to use footage, you can show it on whatever platform you're working on. Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to show you some of that footage later, but I might use some screenshots from it. It looks like these galaxies and nebulas and all kinds of crazy colors moving. I could use some stills from it. I could use some video. I could make these because like Photoshop allows you to edit video. I don't know if you knew that, but you can go into Photoshop and you can drag a piece of footage into it and you can get a video editing timeline in Photoshop. That's huge. I don't know if you knew about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some stills and I'm going to edit them in. I could do some kind of like moving shots and like pictographs, but I didn't prepare for that in the beginning, so I'd rather just sort of see what I can do with this photo editing technique. When you're mixing multiple images together, it's called photo-compositing. So that's what we're going to be doing later on today. There are some other images I'll show you at the very end of this. These two. So these are shots I want to take apart and edit into some crazy images. I might be able to give you an example of one right now. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to open up one of these, and I'm going to navigate to it on my side window so you don't have to see all my other random crap. Let's see here. So, pulling up Brandon's photo shoot right now, and we have a couple of edits for you. Let's do this one. Okay, so this is the first edit of one of the images that I showed you. If we go back to Bridge, I can show you, that's this image right here. So basically I just went around, cut them out, make sure that it was a good render, and did a little editing, and that's what I came up with. So I'm painting in a little bit here. Using a background from a stock image, from a free stock image, you want to make sure that they're royalty free, Creative Commons, all that jazz, so that you can use the images without getting penalized. When doing like a heavy photo composite like this, it's a lot less likely that you're going to get hit because you're mixing in a whole bunch of different elements, but still you're using someone else's work. So you want to make sure that you're using legal work. This is one edit. This was the first round. I got some cool colors swirling around here, and I was like, you know what? I can do better. Let's see what else we can do. And I ended up with this. Let's let it render in. It's a fairly big file, apparently. What does that resolution look like, dog? Let's do that. There we go. Now it looks good. Okay. So what he wanted was something a little bit more like a White Walker. Like he wanted to look like, you know, one of the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. So I gave him this sort of blue pallor to his skin, which is literally just a layer of painted blue. And then you use, what is it? Color Dodge or something like that. I'll look it up in the actual project in a minute, but basically you get these, this blue overlay in his face and his skin and all that stuff. You don't really need it much anywhere else because it's already pronounced enough in the scene. I changed the color balance so you could balance more towards cyan and more towards deep blues and things like that. Pull out some of the green, add a little bit of magenta in the midtones, and that's how the trees look different now. So let's go back to our other image. Let's see here. Bada bing. Okay. So you see green trees, all happy green trees, right? Go back to this other one, and they are a little bit blurry now, and they're like, you know, I separated Brandon's layer from the actual background, gave it a little bit of blur so that it looks like the camera is shooting with a shallower depth of field lens. I blurred out his front hand to kind of match a little bit, and this is what we're left with. We have much sharper image here around the guitar. That's what I wanted in focus. And then to him, to his backhand and his, you know, his face, where if you notice, oh, let's go here. Wow, it really doesn't like it when we move around on that one. Okay, so we're gonna open that up again. All right, let's do that, and let's see if we can zoom. Alrighty. Okay, there we go. Zoom. Nice. All right. So you can see Brandon's eyes. There is a little tiny speck of light. This is what I basically did here is I painted over. There's chunks of black in where the whites of his eyes would be to cover up that section. And it's not, you know, you can tell when you zoom way in. Okay, it's not perfect, but when you go back out, you zoom all the way out, the shot is sold. Like it looks the part, but you don't need to go nuts on these. You just need to add elements in the right spots to make it work. The thing is here, you'll see as I zoom in real close, there's still grain in there. So what I did is I added color and I added color and I blurred it out so that it would look like it mixed in a bit. You know, you didn't want it to be hyper sharp or else it would just look kind of weird. So there's blue here in the actual pupils of his eyes. And then there's a little bit of like white, bluish highlight there. That's going to be the light of the sky shining in his eye. So he's got trees all around him. I just wanted to add like a little bit of speck in there to make his eyes seem really alive and make him pop out. The effect is really sold when you take that layer that those items are on. You want them on a separate layer from the image that you're actually working on, but you take those and you add grain to it. So you see in the rest of my image, like around here, in his cheeks and in his beard especially, there's noise. And that is those little tiny pixelated specks where you can see detail. If you don't have that in there, it would look like, you know, I just added some crayon into his eye. It would look absolutely terrible. And I'll be able to show you that in a little bit. I can pull up the Photoshop document from this. But yeah, it's a big difference from here. And even then, it's a huge difference from here. So this is a photo that we took right over here in the basement. It doesn't take a crazy environment to be able to do shots like this. It just takes the lighting that you're looking for. So we wanted a hard, overhead light. Here's another one where it's even more pronounced. That's why I want to do some editing with this one today. Yeah, it's a powerful effect when you get it right. The fun part is you get to just experiment with it because it's Photoshop. So you just take some photos of, you know, a friend in some hard light, something where you can cut them off of the background. You can either cut around them with the pen tool. You can mask around them. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. But basically, yeah, you can do this fairly easily. Just camera and Photoshop. That's all you need. Okay. Wow, Restream chat is just not liking me right now. It's making me sign back in again. Like, it literally just bumped me out. So you know what? I'm going to check and make sure that Restream is still sending these to my other areas, because I am not totally confident in that one there, bud. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, that's weird. That's not even working. Okay. That wasn't liking us for the minute there. So we're gonna pull up Restream chat again. See if it's actually signed in this time. Come on. Come on, baby. You got this. Something went wrong. Okay. So you know what? If you're chatting in on different platforms, I'm only going to be able to really see what's going on Twitch right now. And it looks like that's also trying to connect to... Connect to the chat. So you know what? I'm gonna go double check this really quick. Make sure that I'm not just talking online and there's no actual stream going. So we're gonna go to Twitch. We're gonna mute this tab. We're also going to go to Facebook. Or no, not Facebook. Sorry. Restream. So Restream is the platform that I use to multi-stream here. It allows you to use an RTMP link, which is basically, it streams, like, Streamlabs OBS is what I use to stream. So that stream gets sent to Restream, which then sends it out to a bunch of different platforms. But in order to do that, you have to have it all connected with these RTMP. I forget what they're called. It's like a RTMP web address, basically. Okay, something is going wrong here. Wow. Okay. Not sure if we just lost power or lost something. No, we have... Okay, we have internet right now. It's just taking forever to bring this up. Yeah, and it's dropping frames for you guys, so I apologize for the drop frames. We're working on the internet connection right now, and then we're going to get back to some editing. Okay, it's sending data to all those platforms. That's good. That's what we need. So let's close that. I gotta make sure that I'm not connected to any random crap on here. We gotta save bandwidth here, buddy. Okay. Last attempt, I'm gonna try the Restream chat just so I can talk with all of you while I'm doing this. Otherwise, I might have to put it on my phone. Which I guess isn't really a bad idea. No. Alright, so that's not gonna happen. We're gonna leave that like this. So... says that it's still working. We're just going to keep chugging through and hope for the best. I'm going to try and get Restream up on my phone. Do. Okay, doesn't look like you can get Restream chat on your phone. Well, bummer. All right. Well, maybe I can go to the website. Restream. Okay. Did get to talk about Brando just a little bit. I had some other stuff that I wanted to mention. Apologies for the delay right now. Just getting signed into Restream. See if I can actually chat with all of you. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I can see that the stream is working. That makes me feel a lot better. And tight. We can go to the chat. Bada bing, bada boom. Beautiful. Okay, so if anyone chats in, I am now connected and I will see your chats. Apologies about the delay there. All right, so let's get back to it. We're working on Brandon's photos over here. We're gonna be working on a Witcher music video in a little bit. That's later on today. In the meantime, I'm drinking coffee and editing photos while we warm it up. I know we got some gents on the old. Here we go. I'm gonna close this up. We got some gents watching on Facebook and on YouTube and all that. And over at King Studios, if you're watching, I appreciate it. Appreciate your patience. We're gonna get to that music video in a little bit. You guys are the central figures in there, and we're gonna put together a timeline for the Bard portions, which are featuring the people from King Studios. And we're also gonna be doing some other stuff with the special effects portions, and I have layouts for all the little storylines. Basically, we did a video where it's a cover song of "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher." They crushed it. It's fantastic. We're going to be previewing that song online for the first time right here in a little bit, maybe an hour or so. King Studios, I see you're chatting in right over there. It's gonna be a good day. So yeah, let's get in some editing here. So these number 3 on my list is or like 3 stars is basically code for, all right, it looks good in black and white. 4 stars is we got to change it back to color, and then 5 stars is both. So we don't have to actually change all of these. The 3 stars, let me double check, make sure that my code here is right. You don't want to make these things too complicated and confuse yourself, which I obviously just did. It used confusion. It was hyper effective. Do. Here we are. Okay. Nope, yeah, I messed up my code. So 3 is change back, 4 is good, and then 5 is both. Okay, so all the 3s. Now there is a way, there might be a way actually right in here in keywords or something like that where you can just select all of a certain star. Yeah, I definitely messed that up. All right, so we're just going to do some weird editing tests. Let's do, we're going to jump right into editing this photo. I'll show you what I had done with the other one, and then we'll take a look at this one. They're both going to be in Photoshop. So let's pop that open. You can close this guy. It's probably going to, oh, hey, what do you know? It is popping up on the right screen. I love these images that they include. They're always such like creative and weird images on the Adobe load screens. It's great. Okay. Oh, that's Prelude. That is not Photoshop. My apologies. All right, Photoshop. Let's get that boy open. There we go. I was wondering why that photo was different. I was like, that doesn't look right. Prelude is good for, let's see, you use that on, we're going to go with this one. you use that, and we're also going to open up recent. Prelude is used to ingest clips, so you can do things like cutting smaller clips, you can do rough cuts, you can do metadata addition, you can do quick like color correction, or like just adding LUTs to things so that you have like a basic edit already out the door. It's a much simplified program. It's not, I can't say simplified, but it's like the whole point is to streamline the process so that you can get stuff prepped and ready for like dailies, which are that's when you do a shoot, and by the end of the night you have like a watch through of the highlights of the day. So you have to get through those clips real quick, you have to organize them, you have to make them easily searchable, all kinds of things like that. You got to be able to export them in smaller formats, etc., etc., etc. Wow. I think that's like Zambian coffee or something like that. Oh, jeez, it's so good. Matt, you crushed it with the blend. So good. Okay, all right. So this monstrosity, if you can see, there are quite a lot of layers in this. Just scrolling up and down to the bottom right of that panel. All right, so let's take it all the way back. So I'm just turning everything off, except for that original image. All right, so that's what we started with, right? Let's see where that turns into. Okay, so here's our cuts. We're going to turn these off. So I cut Brandon out. You just want to make sure that you have a couple versions of it. So I have one that's like super sharp and one that's a little bit fuzzy, so that I could adjust, what would that be? Depth of field. So I can change which ones look a little blurry and which ones look a little tight on the background. And then over here, I'm already starting to, so there, I scaled them up. But that's what I was doing in my first edits. Then I started adding things like the effects for the guitar, but I didn't want to go too crazy into it because first I needed to add the background. So what I ended up doing was adding this. This is an image that I pulled off of, there's a website, I forget what it's called, where you can get free stock images. But anyway, you can get free stock images on websites like this. Find one that works for you. There's a bunch of great options. This one happened to be a free website. You just have to sign up for a membership so they know that, you know, where it goes and who can be held accountable if they find it just being used for the wrong things. Because some of their items are Creative Commons attributions, so you have to give credit when you use it. Some of them are optional, some of them are mandatory. So let's see here. I added this on, darkened it down a little bit. Oh yeah, I was working with a couple of them. I had some options that I wanted to work with, but this one didn't quite work for me. This one, I believe this is already the blurred version. Yeah, so this has some Gaussian blur on there, which is my favorite blur. You just go up here to blur gallery. It's going to be Gaussian. Find it right in there. Gaussian. Here we go. Blur. Gaussian blur. It's great. Works great. Don't know why that just happened. Cool. Thanks, Photoshop. Appreciate it. Okay, so more editing to our background. So I add like a vignette layer. That's going to be that other stuff. This is a layer of white that goes in the sky. That's just to brighten everything kind of up. Like I want to make it look a little bit more foggy and hazy up top. So that just evened it out a little bit. Here's our global changes. So that's going to, our curves will adjust what is pure white and what is pure black and everything in between. I'll show you that right now. It gives you like a linear, the ability to change these values along a line, which gives you really smooth transitions in your edits, as opposed to just taking like this value to this value and raising it all up, and then this value to this value and lowering it all down. That creates some sort of problems where you have these hard lines between your midtones, your highlights, and your shadows. So using curves is always preferable in my opinion. If anyone else has like other ways of editing this stuff, by the way, that they're aware of that I am not, I would love to hear about it. This isn't meant to be like a this is the way that you should do things type of chat. This is supposed to be like a, hey, I'm working on this and would love to hear your opinions. So if you do this kind of work and you see me talking about something, you're like, that's not the best way to do it, and you have some way that is more efficient or some way that gives you better control or whatever, I want to hear about it. Type a message into the chat. We have some people watching right now from a couple of different ways. These chats should all pop up in the stream chat window on my interface. It's right above me, right up here. Yeah, drop your questions in there. Ask me anything. And then, okay, so we're talking about curves here. Curves, I love curves. I use them when I'm doing color correction. I use them, you'll see them in the video when we're working on it. And then here we go. Next thing is color balance. So here you can adjust the balances of, come on. That's not color balance. Nope, that's curves because I'm clicking on curves. That would be why. Okay, here we go. You can adjust the color balance in your shadows, your midtones, and your highlights. So what I basically wanted to do is shadows, I wanted them to be a little more blue and a little more red. That allows me to punch the green a little bit more without making it look crazy. Midtones, I did the opposite to give it some sort of balance. So I wanted more cyans, a little bit of a push into magenta, and then we balance more yellow to sort of compensate between those two, because we start to get like heavily blue. You'll see here, I'll make the adjustment. So if that stayed even in the middle, see if we can get there. Yep. Okay, +1 or -1, whatever. So even at -1, which is more balanced towards yellow, it's very, very blue. And that's because our shadows were brought way down in this direction. So if we do shadows and midtones all blue, you get a very, very saturated blue. So you can counteract that by adding more yellow. So we're going to drop that back to where I had it at 21, which is actually feels a little high to me right now, but that's just because we've been balancing that way. So then to tie it all together, you take the highlights, and I wanted more of a cyan look overall. I wanted that sort of light wintry blue, that icy blue. So I pushed that back towards cyan, gave it a little bit of push towards magenta because I wanted it was just a little bit too green where it was. And then I brought the blue back because pushing yellow was just pushing my greens too much. So you can balance that out by pushing further into the blue. But because we already have stuff in the greens there, it becomes a balance with the magenta and the green. So that's what I was sort of looking for. I ended up on -5. There's probably more balancing up ahead. So yeah, see, look at this. So we have, here's the actual difference between our backgrounds here. I have some of these layers are just like save points where everything below it is the original version. And then I take all of those layers, copy them all, and then merge them all down. That way I can work on that image by itself without having to, go through all these layers and figure out which thing is which. It just gets tedious. Okay. Got to stay hydrated while you're doing this stuff. It was not a Soylent commercial, but I would love to do Soylent commercials. Okay, so basically, after you get your background figured out, okay, there's another curves layer. I think that I missed there. Yeah, okay, so this one darkens it down a whole lot more. But as you can see, that sort of fits with what he's looking like. You start adding in the other effects, he starts to brighten up and stand out. I decided I wanted him bigger, so we take those out of it. Adjust our curves again, make them fit there. We're going to add some foreground elements. All right, that starts bringing in the direction that we're looking for. You'll see that's that white layer that I mentioned. It sits above him, so he also gets affected by that. It brightens up his face. And then this is a layer that sort of, it acts as a vignette. It darkens up the edges, gives us a little bit more of a moody look. But you can basically use layers, like here, I mentioned soft light. That's the layer. Okay. Hard light, too harsh. Soft light, just right. Normal, that just looks like that. Does kind of look cool, but it doesn't saturate the image. So soft light, I found, did a better job of that. And then I would lower the opacity down to about 30%. So messing with different opacity, messing with different opacity settings and opacities on your layers, you can literally paint with black and white on your images and use those to brighten or darken sections without actually editing the image itself. That's something that's called non-destructive editing. If you're not editing the original, like just the layer that has your background on it, then you're making edits that you can go back and change later on. You're not, say, directly erasing a section of your photo. You're instead masking it out. Masks are edits that can be done on the image themselves exactly. Like here, these curves layers. So like this is the color balance layer that has a mask on it. If I go to my brush, I'll hit B, which is apparently very tiny right now. And if I change it to black, you'll see the effect changes. So there, turns that more yellow because it completely turns off that color balance area. Anything that is black on there does that. So what you can do is you can dial it back by changing the color of this and doing like a gray, which gives you halfway between. So there's a lot of ways to do to edit images in Photoshop without actually like destroying the image that you're trying to work on. You can make, you know, like what I did here is where I have the original background layer and then I make a copy to work on top of that. So that's background copy 1 that I was working on. Once that's, you know, I've got what I want done with that, I'll copy that again and I'll make a new layer to start working on top of it. In addition to this history panel, it's always good to have like layer saves like that. I don't really know how to describe that otherwise, but it's basically like a save file for your game. So we end up here. That's all of the previous layers. Yeah, so that's with the blurry background. This is with the sharp background. You'll see the difference there. I kind of like the way that it draws your focus more towards Brandon in the blurry version. But hey, some people might like the sharp one, so I kept that too. Basically, here's where we are right now. That's another save point. So I started adding in little details. So that's the around the guitar itself. I can't really see what that one's doing, but it's got to be doing something. So little tiny speck details around the guitar. Let's zoom in on those. So you can just add some sort of like particles to that. Okay. Hue saturation. Keep hitting that button. That's like my classic thing. Okay, hue saturation is changing. I forget what it's changing, but it's adjusting. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So I have, here we start working on the eyes. I changed the saturation and the hue of the pupils of his eyes. So I wasn't like changing the texture or anything like that. I believe I add a curves layer on top of that. Then I just added, you can see just flat black right in his eye. Change the curves of it. And then here's with, I believe that's with all the edits right there. So that's where I start making more saves. Here's where I add in the actual color. Okay, so that's overlay that we're working with. Put that on curves copy. So that's layer 16. All right, that's where I add in the eyes. So normal, we're just doing a little bit of an update to it. Curves 5 copy. Okay. So I decided that I didn't like the way that eye looked. Changed it a little bit. We get more of a sharp point of blue. And the rest, it looks like it's painted in. So I think I just did paint over his eyes in the end and have to, that's where I added, like here, I had to actually add grain to the image. So you'll see it has like digital grain added in, and I think there's a little too much green in it personally, but when we add the blue over top, it just sort of sits right. So it worked out in the end. It got me what I was looking for. Oh, so that one was done with... All right, yeah, so this is a sharp background or not sharp background. Does look cool with the sharp background, but I think it's just a little too distracting. There's too much noise in there. You see I added a layer of snow over top, which is just a scatter brush, and then you give directional blur to everything. Do a bunch of different layers of scattering. You want to do large scatters that are wide because they're closer to the camera, and then you want to do small scatters which are closer together, and you want to do those further away from, like they're sharper. And basically you just give everything directional blur. It's going to be motion blur right up in here. Filter, blur, motion blur. And there you can control the angle of things and also the distance of the blur. So the way that I did it, I tried to make it look as though it was the same, like the blur in any of this, a blur streak that was longer than any of the blur in the image, because that's how you match it. Like if you have a streak of blur that's that long, and then you have a light that's blurring that much next to it, like say the camera moved just a tiny little bit as you took the shot, it's gonna totally ruin the effect. You have to match those things up, or else it does not correlate. And it's interesting too, because that's just like a little brain thing. So here, I obviously decided that there's too much green in this image. Added another layer of color balance. Yeah, we're pushing everything towards cyan. Shadows more blue. Highlights more blue. That's what I thought. Cool. Yeah, so that's what we did with those images. I could take the time and edit another one here. We got a raw one to work on, but you know what? I might show you some updates on that soon. I kind of want to get working on this Witcher video. What do you think? I think that might be a good idea. Let's load the restream chat. Okay. We got our chat back up. If anyone messages in, I should catch it. It's just a little odd because I'm on a web page on my phone, so it does keep going to sleep. Alrighty. Hey there, Nate. Thanks for chatting in. It's good to hear from you, buddy. So, Nate was one of the... We're going to save this quick. Nate was one of the actors in this short that we're talking about, actually. We're going to be working on the Toss a Coin to Your Witcher cover song music video. We're going to get that started in a minute. You know what? I actually have the song. I just realized. Where is that? That's going to be... Okay, so while these things save... Close this. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna see some edits on this next time. I want to show you guys that because that's it's kind of a cool process going through that. But I do really want to get to this music video today. It's already about almost 2 o'clock. Started the stream a little bit late because my lady getting out the door, her car battery was dead. It's freezing cold outside. It's all snowy and icy and crazy. So. Apologies for that, but we got everyone in there out of here safely. Driveway all cleared. We're always trying to, you know, keep everyone safe here. So that's the primary thing. Okay, we're gonna get this video started. I'm finding the the song that I haven't even heard. I've heard the previous iterations of it. Justin Mitchell from King Studios has been sending over updates about once every 3 days since we started doing this thing, and it's been sounding crazy. Apparently last edit that he made was adjusting or adding drums to the mix, so I'm really excited to see what they there's let's see if we can get this up. Okay, here we go. Toss a coin, music video, group chat. Let's get this thing going. There's of course a link in a chat, in a window, in a website, all over the place. Okay. Or is that okay. Still finding it. This is the one thing that I forgot to download before we got started. Okay. Alrighty, just sent Justin a message. We're going to be getting that song in. He sent me a link, but, didn't have it ready and wasn't prepared. Cool. So, I'm going to look at the stream notes that I have. There's always some other things that I want to chat about. I make these notes beforehand just so I can do that. Okay. Yeah. I didn't mention this before. There's a tutorial that I'm trying to go through too. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so there's an effect that I wanted to do in this Witcher music video where people take a sip of, they drink their little vial of potion or whatever, just like in The Witcher, and then they look at the camera and you see their eyes turn black. There's a show that I've been watching. It's called The Badlands, and they have characters in it where you actually see the swirl of like ink going into their eyes, and then it turns fully black. They sort of do that in The Witcher a little bit, like you see an effect. So I want to try and figure out something that can make it transition like that, and not just do like the blink, blink, and then boom, and then they're all of a sudden they're black. I think it's a little bit better to sell it that way. It's harder for sure, but I think I have an idea of how to do it. So when we shot this video, we made some footage that was test footage, and I might use some of that just to get the ball rolling and get it figured out, but we might just roll right into it and use some footage to actually cut along to it. There's 2 sequences where we really focus on that, and you see them take a sip of their juice. That Witcher juice. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, thank you, Justin. Just that file. We're gonna pop this open, and we're gonna give this a listen. I haven't even heard it with the updates, and I'm really excited to hear what you think. Okay. Excuse me. Need some water. Okay. How do we download this? All right, page is still loading. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. If anyone's got any questions about photo or video production, I would love to hear them in the comments. There's ooh, let's see here. Pan tilt smoothness. Okay, cool. So I do gear reviews every now and then. I'm gonna be getting back into a new schedule. I should actually talk about that. First we gotta get this download going. Yeah, there we go. Okay, download, direct download. Bam. Okay, so it's making us drop frames. So I apologize if you're seeing drop frames right now, but it's worth it. Basically, we've been working on getting a schedule together. I've got so far we're working on Monday through Friday. I'm going to be doing some gaming and editing, whatever's there that night, but that's only if I don't have work those days. So if I'm doing work and I'm out shooting stuff and doing all kinds of crazy business, I'm not really going to have time to be streaming. So instead, I'm sticking it to the weekends. So Friday is going to be the release of the FCMG podcast. We might start doing some of those live. But Saturday is the day that we actually record those. So if we do them live, you'll probably see them on Saturday. That'll be a week before they get posted to the actual page. And we might do that on, yeah, you know what? We're going to do that in our private groups. So if you want to get involved, there's a Patreon for FCMG. We have a page where you can go. And if you, I think it's, what is it? $1 or something like that. $1 a month you pledge, you'll get inducted into the group, and you'll be able to see those live previews, be able to ask questions during podcasts. We'll take a look over and we'll actually see what you have to say, and see if we can answer some questions for you at the time. I think that'd be a really cool way to integrate the Patreon and all those things into one group. I do have a group called the FCMG Preview Crew. That's where you get to see like brand new previews of stuff, things before they go out, special stuff that can't be shared from outside of the group and can't be seen if you aren't a member of the group. So it's kind of a little special thing just for you if you are interested in. But yeah, check that out. Patreon. It's patreon.com/FCMG if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's we're getting this song all downloaded. All right. Okay. Song isn't going to download in time, so we're going to let that sort of do its thing. Yeah, it's because we're streaming right now. All right, so I'm gonna cancel that, but we are going to play some of the song right now. This is the Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. I'm going to put my headphones on even. We're going to listen to this. It's going to be tight. All tangled up here. Okay. Headphones on. Let's give it a listen. See if it streams for us.
When a humble bard graced right along with Geralt of Rivia.
Oh, it paused. We were so close. That sounded dope. Oh, man. Okay. All right. This is killing me. All right. So because we are streaming right now, I should have really downloaded this beforehand. That, dang. Yeah, it doesn't want to play. Okay. Nice and loud, King Studios. Yeah, nice and loud if I could get it rolling. That's my problem over here right now. Something's going on where like I open up, the internet or something, and I think my bandwidth is just getting severely choked. So yeah, it's not liking it. So my buddy Subo just commented, when are you getting on KF2? We could possibly do some of that later today. This isn't quite working, so I'm not getting I'm not getting what I want out of this, which means that we're not going to be able to the video the way that I want, which means that, you know, we're not going to get any of the stuff done that I wanted to get done. Instead, we're going to jump into some timeline stuff. We won't have the song to work to, but hey, you know what? Next weekend, I'll preview this song for you. I'll have that already. The video should be ready by next weekend too, so I can show you that stuff. But let's jump in some editing. I'll close this out. That's a bummer. Man, I am sad about that. I was all hyped and ready. But okay, so next Sunday, we'll be previewing that song for the first time. Video is going to be ready by then. Meantime, I'm going to get up Premiere Pro, and we're going to do some editing on the timeline. I still have a lot to talk about when it comes to directing action, directing actors, and knowing how to like put your shots together, doing that sort of like storyboard and having it in your head and ready to go when you actually need to run and produce. That's a big thing. Oh, Subo, I don't have Left 4 Dead 2 installed. I have the game, but it's not installed right now. I could install it. I might have to uninstall something else, but you know, we'll get on there. And they're basically the same game though. Left 4 Dead 2 and Killing Floor 2, it's the same thing. I know you're gonna hate me for that, aren't you? I'm just waiting for it. Okay. Okay, we're gonna pop into the in-game view here too. R.I.P. Tanks Playground. Oh, did they kill one of the maps or something on there? Okay, where's the old? All right, toss the coin to you, Witcher. Oh, okay, I understand. Is that a game mode? I don't know what life is anymore. So, alrighty. So, I've been doing some cutting here. We have some footage that we can show you, because this stuff is sweet. So here's a chunk of our footage with Nate. Nate Williams is a rapper and beat producer from northeastern PA. He came down to work with us for 2 days, and it was wicked. We got him in some gear and some armor. We got him a sword, and we started doing some shots where we're gonna put it together, and it's gonna be sick. This is all pre-grade footage, so this isn't the final color grade at all. We'd also have the music going in the background, so we're syncing it more to that. Here's our sort of creeper cam. They're watching him from the woods. And then after that, we're going to have some footage of him chopping down the old monster. What I wanted to do is, I wasn't completely confident that I could actually get like solid looking footage of I wasn't sure that I could composite in something that was CGI or make it look convincing that there was just a monster behind the camera. So I gave myself some options there. I shot it in a way that I thought would look good just in the camera itself, but then I also tried to shoot some methods that were going to be like they would work if I had a slate there I could drop in some CGI, especially if it's just like 2D CGI where it looks three-dimensional, but it's just like a flat slate basically that goes on the video. All right, so Nate's drinking his potion. This would be the section you see his eyes kind of cloud right there, and there it cuts in. And then all of the successing, like the shots that follow that, in all the following shots, he's going to have blacked out eyes. But the hard part here, I will show you right now. The hard part is showing that little glow in the eyes while it goes on. So the idea is you have to match everything to that eye as it moves throughout the scene, but then you also have to like add stuff on top of that so you still see the reflection. It still looks realistic. I'm I'm convinced that I'm going to have to go out with that 9mm lens, that super, super wide angle lens, and go into the areas of the woods and sort of get some footage of me pushing forward and back and whatnot, and like looking around so I can get accurate reflections in his eye. I think that would be a really effective and relatively easy way to do it. And then you just paste the footage in, overlay it on top of the actual eye, and have it all tracked together. That tracking we're going to do in After Effects, and we can still do that even though we don't have the song today, which I wish we had the song, but that's my fault. Justin, I apologize. We're going to show that stuff off next Sunday. If we have a stream before that, if I end up doing another edit stream to this, then yeah, we're going to get in there. So this might end up speeding that sequence up. Right now it's only at 60%. So at 100, looks like this. So it looks like a monster's charging up and Nate's just about to crush their face with this giant scimitar that he has. But let's see it at double speed. See if it looks better, faster. That was weird. Okay, so I don't know why I did that. Let's do quarter graphics, so render that. Yeah, no idea what's going on there. We're going to do a quick render selection. Yeah, no, that's being weird and jumpy. Okay, so that's a display error. Okay, so my idea is that by speeding up this footage, you can do a little bit like what they do oh, okay. So Justin just dropped in the chat link. If you were to go on to, or you know what? Actually, I'm gonna share this. Okay, Justin's got a link for us for the Dropbox. I'm going to share that in Restream chat real quick. I'm going to try and pop that thing up. And then it'll send to everyone. And they can check out the song, because I was a butt and didn't download the song before I started streaming, which uses all my bandwidth. You got to know that you got to have it all prepped and ready to go beforehand. Okay, Restream. Okay. The idea that I have with this footage, though, is it's more like what they used to do with like Chinese action films, where there would more or less be, like they would sort of rank the footage so that it looks like it's normal speed once you're up to it. So what I did with Nate here is I shot the footage so it's slow at 100%. So his motion is slow, right? If I were to speed that up by 20, maybe even 40%, so like 140, let's see if it works on this. Yeah, so that works a lot better. Boom. That looks very realistic. That looks like a lot more impact than it did before. Let's try 160. Let's see if that... Yeah. Wicked. I like that. I like that a lot. And then we're going to cut to footage of him chopping. So he just did a downward strike. He goes boom, and then he goes whack, and he hits that thing upwards. And we're going to be seeing the blood spray and all of that jazz. But I kind of got to cut this together in a way so that it works better. Because like that looks pretty cool. But when it's just swinging beforehand, you don't really... Like I should have had him like turn the blade or do something so that it's a little bit more drippy off of there. We are trying the special effect where we're layering the blade with we're layering the blade. Okay, I'm gonna kill Restream. That's killing the bandwidth, I'll bet you. I just noticed the the bandwidth comment there. Okay, so I shared the link in the chat. I believe that went out to all of the platforms. Hopefully you've got that. You can check it out on your computers. Use some headphones. You'll get some way better audio that way. But King Studios kills it with the mix. They really do a great job. Check them out at kingstudiospa.com. They have mixing, mastering, recording options. They have they can help you with cover songs if you want to. They can produce the song for you, and then you can sing over it, or you can solo over it, or you can play bass over it. Whatever you want to do, they've got you covered. They have a fully functional studio in Allentown, and it's phenomenal. So yeah, hopefully the bandwidth is better now. Hopefully we're back on track, and hopefully everyone has the link and you can listen to that song. You'll be listening to it before I even get to hear it, which kind of bums me out a little bit. But hey, you got to work with what you got. So, first of all, I want to see with this footage, we're going to do a light little color grade on it. Creative. I typically start with a LUT, but that's going to be a camera LUT and one that, here we go, one that is in LUT, so it's Sony, and then it's S-Log2, so it's Sony S-Log2 in particular. So when I shoot S-Log2, I'll use this LUT from Leeming and give it just like a little bit of a starter grade. All right, so there's 25% on that. We're going to up the bright stuff. We don't want the dark stuff too dark. We want it a little more over here. Drag that down a touch. We still want to be able to see Nate, but we do want some nice dark blacks and all that. All right, so here we go. Hey, you see that nice clear green come out? See, I wish if I had it my way, I would add some more coverage in here where we could just cut straight in from here, where you just see the spray afterwards. Yeah, okay, so let's this up to like closer to where I want it. Boom. There we go. We got some guts going in there. All right, so ripple delete. Boom. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to add some effects, some transitions and whatnot to make that a little bit more, a little less apparent. Then we got a nice shot of the actual blade here. And then we're going to have Nate accepting his coin. So he's going to receive coin afterwards. The idea is that every character, we have 5 different Witchers in this. Well, actually 4 different Witchers. We have one from the Cat School, one from the Griffin School, one from the Wolf School, and then one from the Manticore School. Nate was just the Manticore Witcher, which you can see right here is his medallion. So these medallions, we actually printed them. They're 3D prints done on a UV resin printer, which I have right back there now. It's a sweet little thing. It's called an Elegoo Mars Pro, and it's like $250 on Amazon, and it was less expensive to buy that thing and print these out than it was to actually buy actual medallions. And these things worked great. They were made out of resin, so they're hard plastic, cure afterwards. But you know, we added chain to them. We added some little. We painted them. We made them look the part, and I think that they did their job fantastically. So if you're thinking of getting into printing, UV prints are very, very highly detailed, but you got to be careful because UV resin is actually like a hazardous material until it cures. So you have to use nitrile gloves. You have to be aware of your ventilation. You have to keep like the room ventilated and all that stuff. We have dual fans down here, so we can kick the fans on, open the window at the top of the staircase, and blow it all out. It's pretty intense stuff. It's not going to kill you if you do it right. It's not going to hurt you at all if you're careful, and you're going to get some amazing prints if you follow the instructions. So that's what we did with these. There's our Manticore, which they're more alchemy kind of oriented Witchers. That's why we gave Nate that big giant. There we go. Look at that thing. He chugs down his Witcher juice, and we're going to add some effects to that later on today. That's going to be an After Effects tutorial. We're going to go through one of those, and I can't say that I'm excited because that's a hard one. We're going to be keyframing and tracking the eyes on Nate. We're going to be replacing them with all black with reflections, and it's going to be wild. Anyway, save this. Next school that we're on to is the cat school. So we have Ryan here. Ryan is he's one of the guitarists from Visionary. He also works at King Studios. He's phenomenal at what he does. If you need this guy, if you need someone to write an emotion for you into a song, he's the one. I've heard him do, have someone come up to him and be like, "Hey, so I need a part that's like, deeply emotional and heavy, and it's got this cinematic feeling. You want a feeling of triumph at the end." And he goes, "Oh, that's G flat, whatever, Phrygian mode, Egyptian key." Like he can hone in on like, okay, this sounds like this feeling, like that. It's incredible. So definitely go check out King Studios. Again, kingstudiospa.com. They're fantastic. Been working with those guys for a long time. They really know their craft. Alrighty, so we're going to play this some more. This is, again, Ryan coming down the path. He's supposed to be our nobleman. He's just trying to get where he's trying to go. And here is our cat school witcher, which is played by Ashley Reinhardt. Ashley Reinhardt and I did a podcast recently. You can find that on the YouTube page. Go check those out. We've got a lot of podcasts now where we're talking to creative professionals and talking about their history, talking about what they think the current status of their industry is, and some tips from them. So you get a little bit of everything, and we're going to have these people back so that we can chat further into their topics. So watch those first videos and leave us some reviews. Let us know what you think. Okay, so here's some, yeah. All right, so there's the cat school pendant, which I think came out fantastically. But I really want to show you this stuff. This is some armor that was made by Kevin Offlerbach. He's a friend of mine who's incredible with arms and weapons and armor and all kinds of stuff like that. Anything like medieval, this guy can either make it, he can find it, or he can fabricate it out of nothing. And it's incredible. So he created this piece of armor. First of all, he molded it's a molded breastplate. It's got a center portion so that it actually has flex to it. And then the day of the shoot, he came in and he custom fitted it to Ashley so it fit perfectly on her. I think it looks phenomenal. So basically, Ashley is stalking Ryan here. He's our boom. He's gonna be our he's our nobleman, but he gets tagged in the back with an arrow. Goes down hard. Ashley, meanwhile, comes in, draws her blade, goes in for the kill. So this section, I'll probably add another cut in there. Like I'm thinking here to about here. Like we can cut almost half of that clip out. Let's go to that. Ripple delete. So it follows like this. Boom. And then cut in, and then cut in for the transition. And then that's going to be a transition out. I'm going to extend that clip so that when her cloak goes by, there's an actual transition that follows it. That's going to be all done with, you basically just draw an opacity filter onto any layer in Premiere Pro. Let's see. I'll show you right where we do that actually. So there we go. The edge of the cloak goes by. Oof. You can use like a section of it. So like I can just cut it off, do like a crossfade even. Yeah, so we don't really need to do the CGI version of this, but the idea here would be you go into opacity, you can start marking lines like, okay, we're going to go around this way. Let's make this a little bit smaller. We're going to go like this, right across. And see, that's where your cut goes. But you would keyframe it. So you would animate the mask path, and then you would just draw it all the way across. You might also want to add just a little bit of fade so that it's not a perfectly hard line. And you also might want to distort the line as you go. So you can add curves to it. Curves are when you just click and drag on the actual, like, that circle part. Otherwise, if you yeah, okay, there we go. Here we go. If you alt click, you get control of these tabs. Meanwhile, if you just click on the tab itself, you can move it around. So if you have keyframing on, if you have this selected, then as you move along your here, as you move it, it'll mark it for you. So you just move it to your frames and then it'll do it. So now you can see it doesn't look good, but that's a very, very simple version of what I was talking about. Just cuts it right off at that line. Okay, I'm going to back that up. Gotta love Command Z. Okay. Boom. Good. All right, so our next section is we have a section here with our Wolf Witcher, which is another monster fight. It's a little bit different. We shot it with we were trying to use some special effects where we would have like blood spray in the face, and it really worked out for some parts of it, and other parts I don't think it worked out that great. But that was just the method that we were using. I was trying to make a basically what's called a squib. It's a little tiny blood pack. You can use plastic wrap. You can use all kinds of different things to make it, but you basically make a little ball of fake blood in plastic, wrap it tight, and you have it on a plate or something like that, so that when it's struck, it splatters blood everywhere. People sometimes use those with a little teeny tiny firecracker or charge behind them, and then a metal plate behind them so that it protects the actor. And that's what a squib is when you see like gunshot hits or something like that. This is going to be like a simplified version where I was literally just holding the camera and holding this thing and trying to go and make it work. I used blood that was way too thick. It was my fault. I should have used some thinner blood with more water in it, so it would have gone splash like that and exploded outwards. But when I squeezed it, it basically just gave us a big ketchup gout and landed right on his face. So the footage is in there. You'll see it in a second. But it's the spray footage that I think looks incredible and is gonna really sell the scene. So there's some monster stalking him, comes up, drives down to the ground, and then we see some spray here. I'll do a quick edit on this. This section I think is a little too dark. I do have, there we go, lighter footage. Let's see that. Do I actually catch any blood spray in there? No, I don't. But, all right, so let's move back. Here in this footage, you can obviously see that there is some, oh, yeah, okay, let's go. There we go. Look at that. That's a real bring back. Okay, so that footage originally looks like this. Good old S-Log 2. Okay, so we have blood spray, and then we see Eli just getting pounded with blood. Okay, so let's raise that up too. Let's put this into the LUT. S-Log 2. I'll drop his down to like 50. And then curves. Like I was saying before, use curves to edit these things because it just looks so much better. All right, that's getting there. There we go. We can see that spray. And there's that again. Let's drop this lumetri effect on there. Boom. Bam. Done. Look at that. Nice and gouty. Just spraying all over the place. And then here we would add the same effect that's on him. It's like a little too blue or something. There we go. It's looking better. I gotta check out the the stream. Okay. Well, I hope nobody's chatting in on Restream, because right now I can't see what you're talking about. Restream was doing a little something funky with me where it just doesn't like being used at the same time as the stream. I'll try and pop in, but my bandwidth might just poop a little bit. Yeah, no, that's not working. So, apologies there. Whoop. That would be my mic settings. That's not what I want to use. Gotcha. Alrighty. Okay, back to the edit. So here we go. We're taking this. We're going to drop this on here. Boom. So now we can see. There's our stab. Blowing blood everywhere. Bam. Just getting sprayed with it. All over the place. Pulls it out. Still getting hit with the spray. Beautiful. Just looks great. And there he is. He's all messed up afterwards. That was this is Eli. He did a great job doing this part. This was the first time that I've ever worked with Eli in an acting sense. He took direction great, honestly. Like it's just one of those things where if you trust the vision of the person that's standing in front of you, being like, yo, you do this, do that. I know I got my shadow in there. Don't worry, I'm gonna cut into this shot. If you can trust the person who's behind the camera and you can just sort of go with the flow, that's key. And Eli was great at that. He was great at taking a whole bunch of blood straight to the face and not hating us too much afterwards. So yeah, thank you again, Eli, for that. I really appreciate it. So our next one, okay, yeah, all right. So the final thing, we start getting into something that I really want to talk about here. I'm actually going to go back to a single shot. I want to talk about it so bad. This is when you're doing a shoot, you have to be aware of safety. So we signed safety waivers before doing this shoot. It involved swords, blades, getting sprayed with stuff, just all kinds of situations where like someone could lie down in the field and maybe there's an arrowhead there, whatever. Like you could get injured in a million different types of ways. We had to be careful of that. So everyone was gracious enough. They signed waivers. We kept the, everyone legally safe. But then we also we couldn't just like go do crazy stuff then. We had to make sure that we had everything set up so that if there was danger to any of our actors, we had safety personnel on hand. So I had originally wanted to get Harley Newman out here to do fire stuff, but it ended up not working out. He's a very, very busy person doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and we're hopefully gonna have him out for the next shoot. I'm super excited to do some work with him for these fire stunts and like dangerous looking things. But for this one, we worked on an old photography technique, which is time-lapse photography. People will take a wire whisk and put a certain type of steel wool inside of it. You prepare it a little bit. You light it on fire. Steel wool burns. You swing it around, and it creates this circle of sparks that are just exuding outwards. It looks incredible in time-lapse photos, and you can find those online. But we wanted to use that effect with slow-motion video. I wanted to see those sparks flying out from that thing spinning around. I wanted it to be like a spell, as if he has a flail or some sort of weapon that swings around. If you've seen Game of Thrones, what's his name? Uncle Benjen Yeah, Uncle Benjamin has that when he's like. Anyway, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I don't know if anyone hasn't seen it. It's been out for a long time, but still, it's a really cool weapon. It's a flaming flail. So this is what we worked on. I wanted to have a couple people approach Kevin, who I have worked with before. If you check out the YouTube page, we have Abandon All Hope. That is Kevin being the character of the Wanderer, which we're going to do a lot more work with in the future. That was a student film, so it was just purely proof of concept right there. So we're working on a bunch of dark shots where people are approaching Kevin. They got weapons. They got all kinds of shit. He hears them, stands up, throws off his cloak, which obviously I need to cut this. This is all rough cut. He is our Griffin Witcher. Griffin Witchers are magic oriented, apparently, and they're medium armor, if I'm not mistaken. They're medium armor type people. So the idea for him is we want him to have armor on. So he's got some armor on, but then we also want him to be doing some spells. And this is where our fire spell starts to come in. So it's a little thin at first. This is just, this is the entire take. So this is from behind the guys so we can see them in the silhouettes. And there we go. It starts to light up. There we go. So that very end little segment, it really starts to shine there. So we start seeing a bunch of sparks flying around. He hits it off the ground that last time. As I start to move, boom, it erupts. And so we start to see what this thing can really do. Here's the other angle. Low to the ground so we don't see the whole thing. But there it's working a lot better. For a second. Stops, but it's still working. And here we go. So we start getting... Where is it? I'm waiting for... There's like one gout in particular. All right, I think it's coming up. There it is. Boom. Just throws it all over. All right, so those are the segments that we have for that. But that footage isn't just standard footage. This footage, if we look at the properties for it, shot at 120 frames a second. So that means I get to take chunks of this. So like, let's see here. I like that chunk a whole lot. Boom. Just like that. All right, we're going to pull this clip back. So at 120 frames a second, if you're... Oh, I forgot to go back. Okay, here we go. In-game. Ba-bam. Thank you, Justin, telling me from the comments. Appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to tease that footage again because I was just showing some didn't work. All right, now we got it. So here we are. We're working with Kevin on this one. Was I talking about Eli that whole time? Or no, yeah, we were talking about set safety. All right, so here's our shoot with Kevin. I'm gonna roll back and talk about all that stuff again. We got a bunch of guys approaching in the dark of the night. They've got different weapons and you know, it's all very ominous. You can see something in the background there. When I edit the color, that's not going to be there. You won't see it. Don't worry. So we have Ryan flipping his blade out. It looks super cool. And then Kevin, he notices. He's going to stand up. This is all going to be cut a little bit differently. He's going to stand up. He's going to throw off his garb. Here we see he's our Griffin Witcher, and Griffin Witchers are medium armor and they're magic oriented. So he's going to be using, what is that? What's the I can't believe I was just talking and there was nothing on screen there for a couple minutes. I think the symbol is Axie, is the fire stuff. In the game, it just sort of gouts flame in front of you. I had an idea for how to do that. Harley Newman had an even better idea for how to do that, but we didn't get the chance to do that this time. So instead, we're using what we think looks like a flaming mail, or a flaming flail. Igni, that's what it is. Igni, not Axie. So here's our raw footage. Looks pretty sweet, you know, it's pretty cool. We get some action in it. The effect is working decently well. I stand up right as it works really, really well, of course. So here, yeah, we've got another angle. Looks crazy, right? So that's all. We had to be really careful. We had 2 buckets of water waiting on the side. We had a fire blanket. We had thing on fire, or like a chunk of that, like you can see right up here. It's a steel can that's holding together this, what is that? Steel wool. Steel wool's on fire, and so chunks of it would kind of come out at times. We had to keep it contained as much as possible, so that would just be sparks. But the sparks that would come out sometimes would be in this like lump. And there's footage that we have where Kevin gets a lump of just hot, sparking steel wool to the head. And luckily he's fine, but it's, you know, we got to be careful of stuff like that. So we're getting shots like this. Everyone's watching and being really careful. We only did 2 takes so that we could keep it safe, but we got some really cool footage. And when we shot it, I made sure to make use of the footage as best we could, in that all the footage is 120 frames per second. So we can take it from 100% speed, because I'm presenting this in 24 frames a second so that it looks more cinematic. We can drop that down to 20%, which is 1/5 of real time. So let's change that right now. 20%, 5 times the length of our clip, and this is what we end up with. So you get big gouts of sparks flying around. The motion of the camera is very smooth. See, that's normal speed right there. That's the rest of the clip. So I can even do things where it's like speed ramping. I could do it this way, or could actually keyframe the shot itself, but basically, boom. You know, things like that, where it suddenly speeds up. But I love the way that looks. Like those sparks flying through the air. Those are going to be some accent parts in our video. And once we have that song in there, which I still haven't heard, you can hear it in the link in the Dropbox link that's in the description. I haven't heard it yet, but Toss a Coin to Your Witcher by Visionary. They're the studio band out of King Studios in Allentown. Check out the song. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment down below. I'll be editing this footage to that song in the next little while. All the rest of the footage that we have is footage of the actual bards here. So I'll show you. We got some clips right along here. I'm going to mute this track. That still didn't mute it for some reason. That's cool. Oh, because it's on like several ones. Getcha. Okay, so we're going to do this old trick, solo mute. Okay. Heck yeah. Thank you, Justin, for watching. I appreciate having you on board. So for the bards, we got a whole bunch of slates of weather. We got some solid shots where we have tripod motion to keep it nice and smooth. But I wanted to keep their footage real time so that it seems like we're following them in the present day. The rest would all be like flashback footage for them. So like they're remembering all of these crazy witchers that they've seen do incredible stuff. But they're the only thing that's actual real time. We had a beautiful, beautiful snow day. This is out in Pennsylvania. We're out near Allentown in Pennsylvania. So there's some farmland out here, and we got to use some private property out there. We got 2 days to shoot on it, and it was just worked out great. All right, so here's our guys. This is Ryan. This is Justin. This is Solek. Solek is the new bassist of this band. With all the knowledge about The Witcher, first of all, for this, he was the one that knew all the different signs. He knew a bunch of the lore about all the different schools of the Witchers, and he had some great resources for us. He also had this great costume. He basically looks like Jon Snow. It was just a great day. We all had a great time filming together. It turned out really fun. And we got some really cool stuff. Justin and Ryan both came packing with all kinds of gear. We loaded them up with some extra leather and fur, and this is I can't remember the name of this thing. This is a type of armor that's it's really simple to make, to manufacture. It's kind of hard unless you know what it's like, but that's the stuff that Kevin makes. This was handmade by Kevin. And if we can see the other side of Justin's arm, we'll see another chunk of armor there. These are rabbit pelts. We got them off of Amazon. You can get them, I think it's like $10 for 5 or something like that. And I'm pretty sure they're all like fake, but they looked really good. They looked great on screen, and they did the trick. Actually helped keep us a little bit warm too. So we got all our shots of them walking through the snow, and then we get some footage of them actually to the song. So here Justin's going to be singing along to the song. We're going to be doing some dramatic pans and whatnot while the snow comes down. It's just looking it's crazy. The other thing though is this isn't even color corrected yet. So let me show you a little preview of what happens when you put on some LUTs. You do some edits. Let's see. We're going to go to about 30% with, no, let's stick to 25. Okay, 25. We're going to go down to curves. I am looking directly into a light right now, so this is not ideal editing conditions, but we're going to be able to get some cool stuff out of this for sure. Like, it's just very dramatic footage to begin with. Winter Wonderland, yeah. So this is the Winter Wonderland, says King Studios in the comments, yeah. Okay. We can adjust the blues really easily, like just push up the midtones a touch. And that would that pushes us into that cold territory. We can also drop back the greens on the highlights, because I personally think that Sony cameras push a little bit of green into the highlights, and I don't like that much. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of that. All right, so yeah, this is a lot closer to what our footage will end up looking like. I'm looking at it on your screen, and just with those simple changes, like, look at the difference. Off and on, whole lot more contrast, but it's all smooth. You know, we're not getting any like harsh spots of just like weird looking contrast where everything, something's blown out or something's pure black. Wicked. Yeah, look at that footage. Beautiful. Not even there. Punch up a little bit. If you're listening to the song right now, you could probably just play it right along to this. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna end up looking like. We got a lot of like tight shots. This is with a 56mm Sigma Prime. These shots are with a 30mm. So we've got some decent coverage, and we have a couple different locations. There's this other spot too, which I absolutely fell in love with. Here we go. This is where we're gonna use this clip from. So again, this is out near Allentown, closer to like Weisenberg, New Smithville area. Just a beautiful snow day out of nowhere, and we got the chance to shoot all this footage, and it just ended up looking great. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be in the final cut. This move right here, where it's kind of match move to them. We see the expanse that they're walking through, and then we get some footage of them on the hills. Here's Justin singing along, looking all dramatic. Yeah, look at that, looking good, great. So this is the other piece of armor. Actually, this is it's banded plate mail, articulated, I should say. Actually, wrapped in leather, riveted together. It's crazy. That's all built by Kevin. And then this is the only Witcher pendant that was not made by that 3D printer in the show, in the video. Justin got one of his own, but we have all the other Witchers have their own pendants. Here's a walking shot going down the hill, and as you can see, it's starting to get dark as we're shooting. So we shot more another day. So we've got more shots of them. This is going to be out on that same sort of field, but we're just shooting in different directions. We're getting different coverage. It's at sunset, different time of day. The weather's different. This was actually the Sunday after the Tuesday of that week, and it just, the weather change was so incredible that we just we went out and we shot the whole day on Sunday. Got some great footage outdoors. That's where all the other Witcher footage comes from. We might be shooting another Witcher segment just to get some A, proof of concept, and B, some more footage into this in the actual snow. We'll be doing that. If we end up doing it, it'll be next Tuesday or sometime during the weekend. But we're just going to be adding in like little tiny elements to really cinch all this together. We have plenty of footage right now. Like as you can see, we're up to about an hour with the uncut Bard footage and then all of the cut segments of the Witchers. But they were at about like 4 or 5 minutes there anyway. So look at that. Ah, oh, God, I love the shot. Justin's just singing into the sunset. Dramatic as hell. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, we got Ryan. They're playing their instruments in this one, which I think is a kind of a cool addition. Like it's going to be obviously like a little bit of juxtaposition between them, their outfits, the storyline of the whole video, and their instruments and stuff like that. But I think it's going to fit in pretty well. We'll throw in some tease shots, and then you'll see them all towards the end playing the actual track together. Where is it? There's some great. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That bass, by the way, that is that's a Dingwall bass, and God, they're just so incredible. I think they're a Canadian bass company. Justin would be able to tell you more in the comments there, but good Lord, Dingwall basses, they sound incredible. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. Okay, so we got into the shot. We started rolling, and his part comes up, and the wind just starts to kick up. There, he starts to play. There we go. Look at that. Blowing in the wind. That's definitely going to be in the video. That's what it comes down to, too, with music video production and editing. Basically, you got to have enough coverage for enough different takes that you have the ability to put together what you're seeing in the end. We had some action shots there where we're flipping back and forth on subjects, and it's difficult to, think about all these things like, oh, we're going to see that building in the background, so we can't shoot that way and make it all work. So my suggestion is always shoot twice as much stuff that you should. Get tons and tons of footage out there so that you can actually pick and choose from a multitude of extra clips and not have to worry about, oh, shoot, okay, I have to use this clip, because that's where you start to get into danger zones. You'll end up forcing yourself to use a clip that doesn't look right, and no one appreciates that. It doesn't work out well. Ain't good for nobody. Yeah, okay, so that's our toss a coin to a Witcher music video. I'm gonna have way more done by next weekend. I'm gonna be doing another producer's log then. It'll probably be on the same subject or some other projects that I've been working on, but Brando's photos, Brando's video, and this project are going to be the main focus. But I just realized in saying that I haven't shown you Brando's video yet. Let's take a look at this, because I'm really stoked on how this turned out. This is going to be a great example of like low cost production. No. Close project. There we go. Low cost production with a high return. All right, so Brandon Stoltz here. So we shot some footage with Brandon. Basically, footage looks like this. So we're in the basement. So this is right back there. You can kind of see the pinball machine in the corner. So we're shooting down there. We're just getting, different shots. This is the classic hero shot that we're doing right now, which is you just slow zoom in. Yeah, looking badass. All right, cool. Right? What I did is I took that footage, and with a little bit of creative grading, the background ended up more or less black. So here we go. Let's go in here. There we go. Okay, so there's the grading that I ended up with. Just the midtones and highlights that are on his face, his hands are showing up because we have an aggressive curve here. That's very high contrast. Did that with all of the footage. So every shot is like that. You guys are probably getting a lot of audio right now, so let's do a little solo mute. All right, so every shot is like that. I think it looks pretty cool. But you know what? I was like, there's got to be something else that I can add to this. There's got to be something that I can, you know, boost this a little bit. So I started adding in these elements, and I'll pull some of them up here. So here's one. This is a 4K chunk of footage of, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. If I'm not mistaken, basically what was done to capture this footage was take a really high resolution, super slow-mo camera and take a glass plane, light it from the top, and pour things like syrups and water and watercolor and food dye and all these different like liquidy, pory things like soaps and shampoos, stuff with glitter in it. Just move all that stuff around on a surface of glass, lit in a direction that gives you like a weird kind of effect, and then you end up with footage like this, and it just looks, it's so enchanting to me. Like, I love this footage. I believe it's in slow-mo. I think they hit it with like fans and stuff to get things moving in directions, get weird like waves of color and light. But you know, these it looks like space to me. So I see like nebulas and planets and all kinds of weird crap in there. Yeah, there's one that moves pretty aggressively that looks really cool. Yeah, like these, where there's like, you can see the particles moving through little channels, and it looks cosmic. It's great. So what I did in the video is I popped that stuff underneath, and I set all of my footage to screen, which just lets the brightest parts come through. Screen footage is just taking the midtones and the highlights above and dropping it on top of your other footage. So this is what we ended up with. And you know what? I'm gonna actually bring it up. I have an export of this. I'm gonna pull that sucker up for you. And we're gonna watch it that way. Okay. This is Brandon Stoltz. This is gonna be his teaser video. So yeah, that's about 57 seconds long. I just wanted to make it tight enough that you can fit within that 60 seconds. And then he can also add like, you know, a little title at the end or anything like that. We can just add stuff in, plug it in as necessary, and give whatever event he's gearing up for or whatever, give it the exposure that it needs. But that's like it's kind of an easy placeholder. I can switch out the footage. I can change the background footage really easily for like different sort of effects. And the thing that I think really sells it, you'll see here, is how the footage of the universe stuff shifts with the footage of Brandon. And all I'm doing for that, like I'm not doing anything too crazy here, is I'll basically keyframe the position. So I'll pull this out a little bit. Here we go. So you can see this is a 1080p window. This is 4K footage. Whoa, shit. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, 4K footage. So as you can see, I just motion track it a little tiny bit. You take it from the very beginning of the clip. What I do is I take that center dot and I lay that down somewhere that's going to be easy to track. At the end of the footage, you just keep it in the same spot. And then it ends up looking like your nebula footage is following directly along with the footage of Brandon playing guitar. Works here. This was the fastest one, where it moves real quick. That was a little bit hard because it was a twist, but I basically just kept it locked on the center of this. If you have little points in the background, it can be a lot easier. So those kind of circular lights in there would help me do a little tracking in case I got lost or in case I shot the footage in a way that just didn't quite work. But yeah, so that's Brandon's footage. We're gonna be doing a lot more stuff like that. That's gonna be some like I like to say that it's a composite video. That doesn't make sense because that means, you know, the old 3 RCA cables. But it's basically photo compositing in a video form, if that makes sense. So let me just check my notes really quick. Little notes. Ba-ba-da-da. Right. So just check through my notes. I don't see any questions in the chats. That is what I was looking to get together. That's what I was looking to get together. And we got everything done that I wanted to do today, except for the eye tutorial, which I'm going to do next weekend. I'm going to get that effect all figured out. We're going to get it all hashed out and perfected. And then I can come back and actually show you that footage on Sunday. I'm going to be going out and shooting footage so we have the actual view from someone's eye so they get the proper glare and reflections. And we'll have the song downloaded so we can preview it then. We can watch through and we can listen together. Yeah, it's going to be a busy week this week. I've got some shoots with PBS. We're going to be out at Martin Guitar Factory and at Daddy Pops on Wednesday. But then, yeah, coming towards the weekend, it'll be all gear reviews, maybe some gaming, maybe some more edits on this. But Sunday is definitely going to be a day dedicated to showing off this video, showing off the edits and the work that I've gotten done. And yeah, answering any of your questions about photo, video, or any of that stuff. So I really appreciate you watching today. This has been a great production. This is the Toss a Coin to Your Witcher cover song music video for Visionary. You can find them at VisionaryPA on Instagram or on Facebook. They're Visionary. And you can also find King Studios, which is where this was recorded, mixed, and mastered, at kingstudiospa.com or at kingstudiospa on Instagram. And they're also on Facebook, too. Go check out their page. Go check out some of the music they've been making. They do awesome stuff. Again, it's great to be working with these guys. I just moved back to the States a couple years ago, and I've been linking back up with all the people that I like. And actually, speaking of linking up with all the people that I like, you can see me chatting with people about their history in creative industries and creative professions and their advice for people getting into the same fields at our YouTube channel. That would be Full Coverage Media Group on YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. We do travel vlogs. We do gear reviews. I do all kinds of stuff like that. So we have a series coming out soon for UXL, which is going to be all centered on excuse me, on becoming a better photographer, better videographer, a better freelancer. It's going to be centered around the business side and the steps that you can take to go from hobbyist to professional. And it'll cover a couple different fields. We're going to start with photography. We're going to move our way through videography, editing. We're going to get up to freelancing in general and doing that sort of business side stuff. Yeah, and we're eventually going to work our way towards filmmaking, which is the in my opinion, being like an artist as a videographer. You're getting to the point where you're producing the entire thing and you're creating that. So definitely check out the YouTube channel. We got a lot more coming up. And there's always the Full Coverage Media Group podcast. You can find that at buzzsprout.com/FCMG. That's where you'll find us on iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. Yeah, we're also on YouTube if you want to watch those videos. So definitely subscribe if you want to see some more. I really appreciate your time today, and I'm going to get some more work done on this week, and I'll come back to you with the updates on the next episode of the Producer's Log. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.